going over how to achieve bigger volume in your Poomsae. One thing to understand is that bigger volume doesn't always mean bigger arms. It really has to do with your timing and your angle perception. So one thing to look at is your videos. Film yourself in your videos and see where you're at. A thing that people sometimes overlook is the direction of where the judges are facing and then where you're actually doing your Poomsae. I'll cover that in a little bit, but that's one thing to keep in mind when you're watching this video, is that everything is oriented with a judge facing directly in front of me. Remember, if you're having a 3-person or a 5-person judge, they're all looking at you from different angles. So you always want to try to make sure that your Poomsae is fit for all of those different angles. Understand that some moves are not as optimally viewed from a different angle as the judge right next to them. That's something that you can't help, and you're just going to have to do it the most correct way. The idea behind my tips today is that you're going to be able to show most of the judges your best angles. Not every single judge is going to be able to see the exact same thing, so that's something to make sure you're looking at. One more thing is to also know the difference between getting a bigger angle on a camera and getting a bigger angle in person. Because in person, I'll have a judge directly in front, to the side, to the side, to the back, to the back. When you're doing a video, when you're doing a Poomsae on camera, you only have the one judge in front of you. Even though you have 5 scoring, it's only one view. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so tip number 1. I kind of said it earlier, but make sure you're not just extending your arms all the way around and coming back. This is not good volume. Volume doesn't necessarily mean straight arms. It has to do with your timing. So to me, good volume is being able to go slow, pause for a split second, keep one hand still, and then going. Okay, different techniques are going to have your different volumes. So understand which ones are going to require one hand moving, both hands moving, the timing of that, how that works. Really dissect all of your Poomsae to try to figure that out. But like I said, the number one thing is that it doesn't always mean straighten your arms. So for example, in Taguk 7, it doesn't mean go straight. This isn't necessarily good volume because it looks very stiff and it's also very abrupt. You want to make it circular. So volume would be going back and slow, pausing for a second, then going. Slow, pausing for a second, then going. So if I'm going to do that in real time, okay, I'm showing that technique. The next thing when trying to get volume is to understand your angles. I mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to mention it again and again and again because it's really, really important. Your angles mean a lot in your Poomsae. So if I'm looking at the camera right now, and let's say we have Taguk 8, it's very centered, right? If I put my hands directly behind, you can't see them. That's not showing good volume because 1, the camera can't see it, and that's all 5 of my judges. And also 2, only 1 judge can't see that. The other 2 can, but it looks a little bit tight. It looks very stiff, and it doesn't look very volumized because now you have to swing your whole torso around and your shoulders. It doesn't look good. So always try to make sure you're utilizing your 45-degree angles. There are so many techniques that people do not do this in, but it's really, really important. So if you're here, 45-degree angle. Now you can see my arm, you see the volume, and you see how I'm able to go. Okay? The only judge that won't be able to see this the best is going to be your far judge over there. But, like I said, 4 other judges are going to be able to see how much volume you have. The other judge may not get to capitalize so much on it, but they'll be able to see more of that in the rest of the Poomsae, providing you're doing it correctly. Okay? Another example of these angles is whenever we're doing Taguk 7, here, if I go straight back, it again looks very flat. So what I'm going to do instead is go at an angle, 45-degree angle. So when I turn, my shoulder's not looking like it's bent backwards. Okay? Inside block. This is another common one. Whenever people do their inside block, they set up way to the side. Again, you can't see it. Most of the front judges won't be able to see this very well either. So if you just turn your shoulder a little bit, put it at a 45-degree angle behind, now everyone gets a chance to see this block. Okay? So, like I said, your volume has a lot to do with where your arm placement is and then the timing of that arm placement. Are you going to have a nice soft angle in your arm and then a nice soft angle in respect to the judges? And then are you going to have that nice pause? I said this earlier, but I'm going to mention it again. Understand your 1 motions and your 2 motions. So your 1 motions are when both hands are going to move together. Okay? They're moving together. There's a difference between certain techniques that people sometimes blend them together to make them one motion when they really should be two to capitalize on that volume we're talking about. Double knife hand block or the JB Poomsae mukjigi, a lot of people tend to blend those together. They're not. They're supposed to be separated a little bit. So what I mean by that is for here, sometimes I'll see a lot of people go like this, where they're just going together. They're not showing the full path of this arm. It should always be one, then two. So that would be a dual action block because you have two things that have to go at different timings. So one hand would stay still while the other hand moves. Okay, the same thing for here. One hand stays still while the other hand does more work. So you want to make sure that you understand those differences in all of your blocks. Some are going to be single action, some are going to be dual action. So understand that difference and then you'll be able to capitalize more on your volume. Okay, the last tip I have for achieving better volume in your Poomsae is to breathe. The number one thing is people do not breathe. You have got to breathe in your form. Whenever you breathe, you always want to make sure breathing in is associated with some type of setup because you're letting your diaphragm expand and that's going to cause a really nice soft look. If you don't breathe and you just hold your breath, it looks like this. Okay, there's not a lot of softness and strength to it. It's just stiff. If you have that softness from your breathing, okay, soft hit. That combined with your timing is how you get that more volume to be better in your rhythm. Okay, so rhythm's totally different video. We'll cover that in a different future video. But your timing, your breathing, and then your volume are all going to come into play when you're working on your rhythm. So these are important steps you have to take to achieve a better rhythm, to achieve a better presentation score, which is probably why you're watching this video. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!